Hey, Kevin Lawrence, Coach Kevin here. I know it's been a few days. I took a pause last week, took some time and got away, and just getting back to the newsletters today. And I think I'm going to move it back to once a week, maybe twice a week if there's something extra special I want to share. So today I want to share with you a couple things. First of all, we just recorded episode 5 of our new podcast, myself and a good friend of mine, Brad Giles from down under in Australia. We just recorded episode 5. We're starting to get some good rhythm, and you might find it interesting. You'll see a link below to our podcast and where you can find it, and it's called The Growth Whisperers, as we're all about growth. And you can find that on iTunes, Spotify, and all the usual places, and there'll be a link below. But the first thing I want to share with you today is around belief and changing beliefs. There's a lot of stuff changing around us right now, and people kind of have a new grounding and understanding of this new reality. But the question is that what is the belief, or what are the beliefs that you have held about business or otherwise that actually might be different today? That you actually need to step back and go, is that still true? And need to test it. It's almost like in Canada here, when you drive in the snow for the first time of the season or on a cold road, sometimes you'll test your brakes. Just, will my car still stop properly? I tend to drive a little fast, so I tend to do those tests fairly often to make sure that it's all good and not going to have a problem. So what beliefs do you need to change and potentially test in this new environment that we're in? Because things might change. For example, restaurant prices might change because they might have to change if they can't get enough capacity. They'll have to increase prices or do something else, as an example. So think about that. What are the beliefs that you hold in your life or in your company you might need to consider, change, or potentially test if they're still true? Second thing is this concept of distraction. And I heard someone break it down to distraction, as in stopping traction or movement or progress towards something highly important. And for a lot of people, distractions can be a way of recovery. Like we'll look at social media or watch TV or something perceived as a distraction, but sometimes it's a mindless thing and maybe it's a way to escape or potentially recover. And that can make sense and that can be fine. But the thing to think about is if it's planned, cool. But if it's not, what are the things we do to distract us, take away our traction from what we want? And there's some self-contemplation, or why would we even do that in the first place? Are we afraid of something or doubt something, or is there some psychological block to look at that with your therapist or your coach, whatever it happens to be? But then secondly, even being conscious of it or aware that you're actually stopping progress on something more important. Hence why we go back to prioritization, for company goals, being clear on what matters most so we don't get distracted, because as humans we easily do. And that's why even on the master plan in the book, Your Oxygen Mask First, we break down to work, self, and life, and your number one thing you got to accomplish in each segment, each quarter, and again, avoiding that thing of distraction. One of the things that also can help you is a chapter in a book called Licking Your Toads, which is dealing with all the things that do distract you and burn energy and consume extra resources that you actually need to shed and get out of the way. It's not just staying focused on a goal and focused on a plan. It's actually removing things from your system that might be mental clutter or distractions. And then the final thing for you to think about today, and one of my associates in the firm, Dean Ritchie, wrote a great article that you'll see a link to below as well. It was already posted on the blog, but we'll publish it here. And it's from a book by a guy by the name of David Goggins, and I believe the name is Cant Hurt Me, or Cant Hurt Me. And in it, but Dean wrote an article on something that David Goggins covered is about the 40%, and how all of us believe that we're pushing really, really hard and close to our capacity, but in many times, we're really only doing 40% of what we're capable to. And it's not until we're tested, it's life and death, or we absolutely have to, that we realize what we have. So something for you to think about today is, where might you be limiting yourself and thinking you're pushing at 80 or 90, and you're actually at 40? And our experience with lots of leaders that we've worked with around the world, what we find is that many times people think they're maxed out, but as leaders, we can find ways to stretch them and grow them, and they find new levels of new highs or new maxes. And that's why we do that in strategic planning sessions, making sure people have clear goals that will stretch them enough to grow them, but obviously not to explode them. So something to think about. Have a great rest of the week. Hope you have an awesome weekend for those of you that have a weekend coming up. And we'll get you another newsletter next week, and again, maybe once or twice per week. Have a good one. All the best. Hope you're well.